So, with this general background about the history of Ecuadorian Quechua and its possible development, I will discuss two, but possibly also three more specific phenomena, and then which also illustrate some of the questions that we're dealing with in more detail. Particularly, I will be talking about grammaticalization and compensatory strategies. And the first thing I want to talk about is a bit about verb clusters. So this is when two verbs are kind of becoming more like a unit, which was the topic of my doctoral thesis. But so this is, and one place we see this, of course, in Quechua, and I don't have to go through this, is that you have these impersonal and personal suffixes, which some of them exist here. Does he exist here? Do you have any cases of that?
Oh, actually, it might be with E.
For transform, what, like
Dress
put, to put on something?
Yeah, choralina, to put on clothes.
Oh yeah, and then anacolina.
They don't have, no, they don't have anacris down here, but choralina, oh, there's more. There's more than that, yeah.
Okay, well, so this I wanted to mention because some of these forms look like they might have emerged out of verbs in the past. So there's a history in Quechua of bringing things into the verb. And so one of the ways that we see this verb cluster, and this I'll go just formally, this awai is the object. So this is highland, right? But it could be Oshani here. But so awai podin. Formally, this is the object of that verb. So formally, it should be a ta there. And in Cusco, that's there. But not in Ecuador. We find that these tas are often left out. And then also this form is kind of on its way out a bit and often being replaced by that form. So we see a lot of na also here in the lowlands, Ushan, Ashani, or Ushani, stuff like that. So this is something to really explore. It has been explored. I did a lot of work for Cusco on that, but I haven't really done sufficient work here. Maybe next coming few days I can do a bit of work on this. This you've also seen. This is the ani here, Shamo ani, where you would have an agentive marker here, and then a be verb with you know, I usually come or something like that, and then I don't know whether this is very common in the highlands. So you have punyu kurini. You don't have that too much here. You have punyugao, punyunga zauni, or
But
punyuga.
you have gri, which could be ka plus ri.
Oh yeah, so you do have the gri.
You have the gri, the
Okay, so that's,
translocative.
oh yeah, so that's the so this gri became gri at one point in the history of the language here in Ecuador. This is very typical lowland. I heard this from yesterday from Eloisa Chuchushatiao. She's breastfeeding. And the interesting thing here is that, so tia means literally, what does tia mean? So it means to be, but it also means to be seated. So in some sense, this could be she sits breastfeeding, or the sha here, or it could be she is breastfeeding. Now this is a very typical case of grammaticalization, that a verb which traditionally, its original use was sitting, then becomes being. And this is very common, not in the highlands, I haven't heard this in the highlands, but here it's very common that tia is used as a kind of a second, kind of progressive type form. So this u here is kind of it's being depleted a bit, it's being bleached a bit. You know, this u is overused, there's too much u, and so it doesn't have the proper real semantic weight anymore that of making of marking the difference between progressive and non-progressive that you had it originally. You have a question?
No.
So in some sense, my feeling is, and this is something to think about, whether the U that we see, you know, we get Ringa Rauni, all these things, whether that U is really progressive or just kind of a really kind of almost meaningless suffix that are kind of adding some time, and that this construction then is sneaking in to occupy some of the territory of the true progressive through this IA business. So this is the type of thing that we see all over. I mean, you've seen it in English with going to, replacing future, I'll go, I'm gonna go, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cases of that in other languages, but it seems to, at least as a hypothesis of what might be happening here. Now this is a very interesting construction, which is very Ecuadorian, it's not in Peru. So here you have Ikushanini, I want to eat. You said, is that lowland as well?
Yeah.
And but also Mikunata Munani. Yeah. Ikushanini, so it's I eat, but really it means I say I will eat. Now in the highlands, and this I would be interested to see how what happens here. Ni can be used with as just the verb to want. So you can just say papataninkichu, you want potatoes. So the verb ni, even though it comes from this construction to it really means say, and then in this construction means want, has actually been expanded in the highlands into wanting in general. And I don't know whether that's the case here, so it's really something to think about. It is?
It is. Matane, what does he want? Matane, what does he say?
Okay. Now this is particularly lowland. This is not highland. Yuka Munani Amarichu Nishi. I don't want her to go. So Yuka Munani, I want, saying, don't go. Or let her not go. With a prohibitive here, so this is the ama that you are familiar with, and then the hortative here. Now this structure is pretty lowland, as far as you can see, and it has gone from wanting to other domains, and it's the most likely schwa construction that we have in the language. So I'm a modest drinker, not wanting to get drunk. This is from Huanc, one of the grammars. So you have, I am a well, I won't even try to pronounce any of this, but here you have the word, I'm not getting drunk, saying, I'm a modest drinker, B, not getting drunk, saying. So this dusang is really like the Misha that we saw before. And the sang is the negative, and then the sang is the same subject, just like the way it is. The sha is in, so it could obviously be a formal correspondence between schwa. It could be just also sa and sha, but also the structure is very similar. So this is, I think, for me, the most, well, one of the strong cases, not the strongest, but the second strongest case for substrate influence in the lowlands. And it passes the cafeteria test in the sense that we don't see it in the highlands, so we don't find this construction in highland perpetually. Okay, now this is just a bit on the reduction, so we go from Katushpa Shamoni to Katusha Shamoni, Katushamoni, Katu Shamoni, and then separate from that you have this form Katumoni in the highlands. Yesterday we had Mikusha Shamoni, Mikumoni. You see this mo here is a suffix, and here you have a construction which is almost like it. This is not derived from that, so don't think that this is historic. This mo here though probably is that mo. So we have a link here, but this is the reduction to katushamoni. So the sh, particularly if you have the verb shamu with a, it's very easy to have you're avoiding a double sh, so you have a kind of a way of doing it that way. Yeah? You have a question, Tom?
No, I'm just looking just to try to follow. What you
So
just said.
katushpa shamoni is the full form, the shpa, same subject matter.
In the Sierra.
In the Sierra.
Yeah.
Katusha shamoni would be dropping the p.
Yeah.
Katush shamoni would be just dropping the a.
Yeah, and then Katish, I get it. Yeah.
Because this sh, sorry,
Yeah.
this sh is kind of duplicated, so then you get to katush shamoni.
And all that reduction is not present in the Sierra. Is that?
It is present in the Sierra.
Is that okay?
This is Sierra, and this is not about lowland at this point. I'm kind of jumping back and forth. This is very much highland. So the Highlands has a weird construction that is, if you want to say, I walk faster than Manuel, what you will say is, Manilda Yayi Porin. And what is weird, it almost looks like Manil Manda Yali Porini, which would be the lowland structure. But you notice this accusative here. That is as if somehow this yaiji is almost like a verb. I'm walking exceeding Manuel. So it's like a serial verb because yaiji is like a verb without any affix such to it, and puri is the only verb there. Now I have not found the potential substrate for it. It's highland from Kanyar to Imbabura. It's not exactly lowland, although the lowland does have the Yali, but then they have the Manda, which is also very Peruvian. So they've got the Yali, but they don't have the accusative there, which is very innovative for Ecuador.
How about just the form Manuel Yalipuri without the da and without the man?
Bueno, you can check it later, but
you haven't found that.
No. So we always have something like a manda there
Or a da.
or a da. Now this is very interesting, of course. Here, Shamunga Rauni, Wanyunga Rauchi. I think this is from Genesis book. These uncles are coming and Wanyunga Rauchi. This ra is very interesting. It's the verb to do, right? And in the world, to go from do to go is very rare. It's very infrequent. So it's really quite an interesting construction. I'm also a little bit surprised that even though it's very common here, I did not find it very much, or maybe I found only one case in this Quechua text, this older Quechua text. So I'm interested in
Even from the 50s,
From the 50s, yeah. And the interesting thing here is that we have a possible Waurani source, because it's the only other language that I've seen which has this do. So you have in Waurani, you have, Bano, Biwi, Kaikon, Tao, something like that. I wonder what the little word is doing. So we have the verb do to care. And here's, I'm going to cut off his tail. Boton, Dami, Damie, Ke, Bo, Ipa. And this Ke is the I'm going to suffix. So the do there and the incoative I'm going to is the same suffix, which is pretty surprising because it's also, as I said, rare. So you have these two adjacent languages which have a very rare construction. Now what's weird about it is that the consensus is that there's no shift from Waurani into Quechua. So that there isn't a group of Wauranis who have become Quechua. That's the story. But if you're looking at this construction, I was thinking, maybe there was. you know, in an older time, or maybe there was at one point, or there was, whatever happened, it's a little bit intriguing, or it's very intriguing to me that this Rauni business is so similar to the Waurani Gay business.
What does PA stand for?
Past.
Oh, past. Okay.
Past dubbelgeteld. So do.
Well,
I don't know why it's past there. It should not be, because the translation is not good. I have to check what the source was.
so that's a really intriguing idea. But it seems to me that because historically, at least since the 1870s, there's enough documentation to suggest that we would know if there was a significant amount of Waurani speaking Quechua.
Yeah, so there isn't.
But maybe earlier.
Well-
But do you say this this Rauni is you think maybe late?
It could be fairly late, yeah. So that would go against this other idea that but I have to check those. And since there's one 1920 source that I've been hunting in Quito that I haven't found is Davila, Rafa Davila source, which would have older texts even, and it would be nice to see what they contain. But so it's an open question, but I just want to open the mind to the possibility that there was more Waurani Quechua interaction than we assume.
One thing that some people have suggested, I have no idea, but that all this area, you know, the suffix for river is new on all these rivers around here.
Yeah.
So I heard some, I don't know whether it's a folk construction or not, but that the word for river in Lao is similar
To that.
new, but that would be a long, you know, quite.
Okay, well,
Very interesting.
let's leave it open.
Yeah.
I just want to, you know, so as I said, Zaparone, we have no idea.
Excuse me, Peter. And Waurani is an isolate, right?
Right, it's an Iceland, yeah.
It's another one of these many isolates.
Right, I mean, there's been, this guy Martin has that, the Shiwi are called the Waurani Taushiri. So Taushiro is also a name for a group